I'm Jack, a boy from Derbyshire and a boy of the Dove. Oh, my God. Who actually talks like this? Jesus Christ. What's the Dove? Well, it's a river, a valley. It might not be as revered as the Thames, the Severn, or the Wye, but Dove water is my water. Its banks were my playground. As I waited for my folks to fix up knackered buildings, I knocked about in the rogue bankside landscape, often in search of watery monsters.
Whoa! The tiny barbel! God, the tiny barbel!
All this was good enough to manifest an unshakable passion for nature, a drive for adventure, and a need to be outdoors. Perhaps it was these early experiences that led me on a path to take on adventures further afield, leaving the Dove behind. Yet when life brought darkness, leaving me frantically searching for tranquility between the ears, it was often the Dove that delivered. So I began to ask myself how a seemingly simple river could soothe anxiety and depression. Then came further questions. If the Dove is my water, why have I explored only like 25% of it? Who else has sought solitude in its waters? And has anyone ever actually ran the Dove? And so the beginnings of a new homegrown doorstep adventure was born, to simply run alongside my river from source to mouth. Let curiosity take centre stage and see how the Dove and I feel about each other by the end. As with any hopeful adventure, it started with a bus stop.
Approach me slowly and stay for a while. Confirm my solitude with a smile. I'll compliment your shoes and hope you'd hang for some time. And I'll sit happy ignorant, feeling fine. But I caught you clock watching. Can't you make it stop? It made me quit my job. The enemy had noticed. But I got a new pair of shoes, just in case you'd noticed. And I'll win the dream for a text or a letter. Young forever, you know, it won't get any better. Oh no. But I clocked you, clock watching. Can't you make it stop?
Well, I'd say about 85% of my holidays over the last 10 years have included camping. So I bloody love it. But if anyone ever tells you that when they wake up from camping, they're sprightly, ready to attack the day, fresh-faced, they're lying, groggy, puffy-eyed, bit cold, aching shoulder, but normally there's a payoff, and this is it.
Yeah, so you can see that I started the first morning of the Dove run getting some candid footage up on Axe Edge Moor, to give the vibe that I was casual but prepared for the 30 plus miles ahead as I transcended from gritstone to limestone. The truth was that my trainers and socks were already piss wet through, and I had spares of neither. Why so soggy? Well, Axe Edge Moor is known as the mother of rivers, with 5 springing from its boggy peat, and locating the Dove Spring would be my first challenge.
Got about 300 metres. Got to take a jacket off already. Hi mate, you alright? I'm planning to run the full length of the River Dove. So it's 2 days, 2 marathons, 2 days, and obviously this is the start, and I just wondered whether it would be okay to start at the Dove Head here.
Who's running it?
Just me.
You're all right.
Is that alright? Thanks so much, cheers. So the farmer's been kind enough to let me come onto his land to find the start of the Dove. A bit tricky finding the start of a river in all of this, but we'll persevere. Here we are at the Dove Head. The farmer's kindly let me onto his land to start following the Dove because it's not public footpath here, so that was really good of him. It's right behind me, the spring is. There's actually a stone head there, but it's in amongst so many nettles I can't get anywhere near it, and I'm not just going to go wading through nettles. I've got 6 odd miles to go yet, so I'm not going to bother doing that. But it's amazing. I can just hear the water trickling from the spring, and it's so strange because I'm used to the Dove being a much wider, lower stretches, floodplain kind of river. So being up here in the uplands, amongst the curlews, a snipe just drumming above me, it's just quality. But yeah, ready to start, already soaking wet, feet, socks, legs, it's just a meadow through here, so here we go.
Juanita, mamacita, oh baby come closer, make it right.
So I've just scrambled through the most amazing wet wildflower meadow. It's just awesome. It's an absolute jungle. You can tell it's not a public footpath, but hopefully it won't be long until I get there. So, yep.
Its colors match your red hair, just raining down its light. Juanita, can you shorten the meters between you and me and take your time? Could never defeat you, could never outspeak you. You've got too much in your mind.
So I've run out of my water supplies, so I'm having to hydrate from the Dove. So hopefully it'll be alright. It looks pretty clean, but I read the other day that...
Okay, so at this point, I'm about to reel off some shocking water pollution stats, but this was filmed 3 years ago, and in truth, things have only gotten worse for our rivers. So how bad is it? Well, it's this bad. None of our rivers are classed as having good overall health. In 2022, water companies spilled raw sewage into our rivers and seas for 1.75 million hours. 62% of our rivers are impacted by poor agricultural practices, essentially allowing manure and slurry to run off into our waterways, and 83% of freshwater species have declined since 1970. As for my Dove, well, in 2022, raw sewage was released into the Dove for nearly 3,000 hours, and from as close as 5 miles from its source, which is just really shitty.
Between you
And here I am, drinking that Dove water.
Could never defeat you, could never outspeak you. You've got too much in your mind, forward by all your words since I encountered you in my mind.
So I am on a stretch of the Dove now, made famous by Isaac Walton and Charles Cotton, who wrote this book, The Complete Angler, and they wrote this back in like 1653, so it's like nearly 400 years old. It's still one of the most famous pieces of English literature ever made. It's still being printed, and essentially it's a love letter to the Dove. You're all right, no, you're absolutely fine. Hello, Lottie. Now, although I share obviously common ground with Walton and Cotton, being an angler and being on the Dove, angling being essentially what got me into nature and gave me this passion to be near wildlife from then on, I actually wanted to read this book again. I read it first when I was about 17. Sorry, there's a dipper just gone past. I read it first when I was 17, so I'm reading it again now, nearly 15 years later, and I wanted to see whether they got anything else out of being next to the river than just angling and talking about angling. And I was really interested to find this little gem, amongst other bits, really interesting bits in the book. For angling was, after tedious study, a rest to his mind, a cheerer of his spirits, a diverter of sadness, a calmer of unquiet thoughts, a moderator of passions, a procurer of contentedness. Now for me, that is just a perfect example of the relationship between blue spaces and mental health. You know, a calmer of unquiet thoughts, a procurer of contentedness. And if we need any examples of whether Walton and Cotton needed some mental health relief, well, Walton's mum died when he was a baby. His dad died soon after. His first 7 kids died in infancy, followed by his first wife. And Cotton spent many a time hiding in the caves around here, escaping from debt collectors that were after him. So I think they were getting a lot more from being next to the Dove than just angling, and there's evidence of that in this book. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. Anyway, I'm going to crack on because I am running late. There's one spot on the River Dove that people have heard of. It's this place behind me, and that's Dovedale, and it's mega popular, as you can probably see. It's been mega popular for centuries. It's been a famous pastime for folks to come down here and get closer to the water. I don't know exactly what it is about Dovedale, but I think it's the stepping stones. People love the stepping stones. There's a footbridge about 100 metres down the river, but everybody comes to do the stepping stones. Maybe it's that ability to get as close to the water as possible without actually getting in the water. It's kind of like walking on water, I suppose, isn't it, stepping stones? But, and here's a sciencey bit, it has been proven that just like the sight and the sound of water can induce a flood of neurochemicals into our brain, which helps us relax, it provides wellness, it increases blood flow to our brain and our heart, and generally just makes us feel good. So there you go. I reckon that's probably why people come down to River Dove at Dovedale, is because it makes them feel good, ultimately. Surely that's the only reason people go out and do things. Had to take the Larry wear off and a bit more subtle. No hat, stupid hat. I'm trying to find somewhere to stop tonight. I have earmarked somewhere, and I saw on Google Earth. Might be alright. A couple of places that I need to go check out. Do it discreetly and with an element of respect. Pitch late, leave early, no fires, pick up your trace. Legs are feeling it, big time. You always forget how hard these long distances are. When you've done the distances before, you sort of think, oh, I can wangle out a 30 miler. Many a time today I was thinking, why the hell am I doing it this way? Why don't I just like walk sections of the Dove? If I want to see all of the Dove, why don't I just walk sections of it over the course of a year? 6 months or something. Filming just is ridiculous. So much faffing. But that's what I wanted to do. So it's been good though. It's been good. It's been hard work, really long day. This is quality here. Absolutely brilliant. Listen to the Dove flowing tonight. Awesome. And best of all, I've got my biscuits. Never leave home without my biscuits. McVitie's, obviously. Other brands are available. But I don't know why you'd bother though, because obviously McVitie's are the best.
Morning. So it's about 4 o'clock. Somehow it's 4 o'clock already. So I slept pretty well last night because that's just gone really quick. The lapwings are up behind me in the field, so that's good enough for me. Today, leaving sort of touristy Derbyshire and heading to the lowlands, or the homelands as it is for me. So moving from the limestone to the gravel beds and the floodplains of the Dove. It's going to be about a marathon distance. Hopefully, no mind mapping, it'll probably be longer. But I expect some jungle warfare at some point during the run, which is going to be fun. Yeah, just going to eat my waffles. Packed up. Let's go.
Note to self, waffles don't travel well. I've got a crumb-based breakfast this morning.
Does it make you feel uneasy? If so, I'm so sorry. About the future, the past, and long gone old love. Just pull over the covers, oh brother, I need it. A smile on the lips, show me your hand and I'll show you my chips. How can I show this?
So this is where it all started really, on that opposite bank. I was lucky enough to grow up a couple of 100 metres away from that bank, so I spent a lot of time there as a kid. It's where I learned how to fish. It's where I saw my first kingfisher. It's where I saved a baby moorhen from drowning in floodwaters. And then in September 2007, I took a girl there on a second date. My parents were away that weekend. But she did become my wife and the mother of my daughter. So it's got a lot to answer for, that riverbank. And it's kind of the reason I'm here now, I suppose. My legs are seizing up. Gotta go.
You torture me. How can I show this? I just need some closeness. A walk in the park, frolicking in the dark.
This is not unique to me at all, but I cannot walk over a bridge without looking over the side into the water. And I think if you watch most folk, if they walk over the bridge, they have to have a quick peek over the side. That said, I have seen people walk over this bridge in the last 10 minutes and not look over at all, which is just beyond me because it's fascinating. There's barbel and chub gliding over the gravel beds, hugging the bottom effortlessly.
One of the greatest things about rivers is that they're always changing. And I don't mean changing like over the years or over the seasons. They can change by the second. You can be staring at the flow when something as simple as an ease up in the wind reveals the river's hidden secrets.
Something amazing about watching wildlife that doesn't know it's being watched. I mean, it is a bit pervy because these barbel and chub are doing the dirty in the gravel. But I'm a loser. What I like to watch, and I could watch them all day.
Pretty smashed up now. Every stone that I go over is just agony.
Nice one here though.
There's some bullfinches. Always a pleasure.
People talk about having a happy place, don't they? Well, this would be mine. This is the Old Dove. It's actually cut off from the main river, and it's a real curiosity, this place is. I've spent so much time here watching little grebes, listening to Chetty's warblers, trying to find grass snakes. It's perfect for grass snakes here, and I've still not found them yet. And it's those sorts of things that just bring me back here, because it's such a curiosity, this place is. But it's actually the Old Dove that really helped me during my worst anxiety and depression. And this is probably the same for a lot of people, but my anxiety and low mood really kicked in at night. So in bed, lights off, and there's no more life distractions. It's just you in your own head with your own tormenting thoughts. And my breathing would get shaky with anxiety. I'd get all tensed up with self-loathing. And I started to develop these mental techniques to try and relieve the pressure to help me try and get to sleep. And some of those were quite dark and sinister techniques. And although they kind of worked, they weren't good for me. They weren't sustainable. But there was one technique that I used and developed, which is going to sound completely pretentious and weird, but it had to do with the Old Dove. And I'd imagine falling backwards into the water, sinking to the bottom and looking up through the water and just watching roach and perch cruise about, maybe the odd tench pass by, and it would completely engage my thoughts, so much so that I'd probably be able to get to sleep. And after a while, when I was able to reflect on this, I just remember thinking, how weird is that? How amazing is that? That just the thought of a blue space could have such an impact, not just mentally, but physically. My breathing would calm down, my muscles would relax, and I'd actually be able to get to sleep. And I think it's all to do with curiosity. I find the whole place just a massive curiosity. I spent so much time here looking for the fish in the clear water, and that, you know, they're relics of the original dove left here to see out the rest of their days in this static water. And every now and again I see a dark shadow underneath a lily pad, or I think I see something underneath a lily pad, and it just brings me back here because I want to know more about the place. I want to understand it better, but maybe I never will, but that doesn't matter because it's such a peaceful, calm place. I could literally spend all my time here, as my wife would testify to. I could spend all my time here.
As I made my way along the final riffles of the Dove and towards its confluence with the Trent, I began to consider my experience of running the Dove. I was certainly feeling regret over carrying the pressure of filming it. I mean, I massively underestimated how much hard work that would be, even though I felt I'd prepared well. I also regretted wearing the wrong trainers and being without spare socks. I still have to remind myself today that the reason I had this adventure was because the Dove has given me so much, and I'd love others to share their connections with their own blue spaces, or to go out and make a new connection, and, of course, to fight for the health of our waters. 80% of the world population live close to blue spaces, so the opportunity for us to connect with water is massive. And of course, water gives us life. I mean, at birth, we are 78% water. But today, we're becoming truly conscious of its potential to provide mental wellness. In truth, though, it's much simpler than that for me. Because, for me, well, I'm just magnetised towards water.
And it's gone beyond correction. I try to run in the opposite direction. It must be in my physiology. You're just magnetic to me.